Three Forks!
Hello, welcome back to the channel. So, today, we are going to do a revision of a previous video that I did about overhauling the Sunrace Shifter. We listened to our audience. It forced me to go back and look at the video. I went back and looked at the video and it was not a good video. So he was right, and hopefully you all can get something more out of this video. So please stay tuned and check it out. Synthetic grease, high performance, WD-40. This is basically just for cleaning and degreasing. Or isopropyl alcohol, which will do the same thing as WD-40. Adjustable wrench, flathead screwdriver, 2mm Allen wrench, and a pair of needle nose pliers. The grip part of the shifter has to come off. This part slides off that way. So we're going to take this flathead screwdriver, put it in there in the crack, and just kind of work it around. Take your time with this. Be gentle, because it's bad enough that you already have poor shifting. You don't want to break the shifter too. Just take your time with this. Allow yourself time. I say better shifting in 15 minutes, but it's probably going to take you longer than that. So that piece is just a rubber piece. There's splines on the inside that line up with the splines here. So on this side, this is a lock ring held on by a 2mm Allen keyed screw. So what you do is you take your 2mm Allen key and you take that screw completely out. Now, I suggest you get a dish, a small dish, to put these parts in so that you don't lose part. What you want to do is take your flathead again and gently pry. Gently. It doesn't want to come out too easily. Don't force things. You don't want to force things. If you're the kind of person that gets really frustrated really easy with this stuff, your tendency is to want to force things. Don't force it. So now the lock ring is out and you're left with this. Right in here are 4 pieces of plastic that kind of fit over a lip inside. Now, yeah, there's the light angle. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. These pieces have to be pried a little bit outward. You're going to pry it outward while pulling this out. Honestly, the hardest part of taking apart this shifter. This is the hardest part. So generally what I do, that's where the spanner wrench comes in, or the adjustable wrench, whatever you want to call this thing, this wrench. I take it and I just put it there like that. So like that. And so now I have this, but I don't reef on this thing. Don't put a lot of pressure while holding it with the pliers, because again, you don't want to break anything. Okay, so as I'm working here, usually what I do with these is I take and I just keep turning and pulling at the same, just trying, and eventually it'll come out, but it is very difficult. So in the interest of of being helpful with this video. I'm trying to think on the go here and come up with some sort of hack that will make this and your life a little bit easier and less frustrating. I've never tried this before, so I'm doing this like kind of on the fly here. What I've done is I've taken an old zip tie that I used yesterday. So this is the cut off portion of the zip tie, and I've cut 4 pieces out of it. Put my screwdriver in behind the tab here, and then put one of these behind the tab like that, and see how it holds it up. The reason why this is so difficult is because you have to hold this up, all 4 tabs at the same time. Okay, now I've got all 4 pieces in. Now you just hold it here like this, and then you pull on it.
Wow. You got it?
Yes. Once you do that, you can celebrate. So now you're left with this. So we have the pawl, have the main shifter body. This is the other part of the shifter body. The grip shift part of the shifter, the lock ring, and the lock ring screw. This is a hood that goes right here. We're gonna put the pawl to the side for the moment. So I've taken the shifter cable out because when you service this, put a new shifter cable in. Do yourself the favor. In the long term, you'll thank yourself for it. Because if you're gonna go through the trouble of taking this shifter apart, and now you've experienced how difficult that actually can be. Change the shifter cable, which will also affect your shifting performance. You should also replace your cable housing. While we're on the subject, you don't need to spend a fortune on shifter cables and housing. You don't need to go to the bike shop and spend $50 on a cable housing set. You can go on Amazon, honestly. It's a cheap shifter. The cables are fine on Amazon. It's all good. You don't need to spend a ton of money on this stuff, because chances are your little one's gonna grow out of it sooner, unfortunately, rather than later. So to replace the cable, I'm just gonna do this in short form because this is the shifter overhaul video, not a cable replacement. However, I want to include this because of a simple fact that this is a pain in the butt to take apart. So while you have it apart, change the shifter cable. That hole right there, you're going to feed it through the hole, and then you'll have a cable stop there, and just pull it all the way in like that. This is where the WD or the isopropyl, whichever you choose, it's going to work the same. What you want to do is clean. In fact, you can even wash it in dish soap water, warm water. Wash the shifter, get any grit, grime, garbage out of here. Get it out. Same with this part. Clean these parts thoroughly. Once you get it clean and dry, I would say completely dry, you can use a hairdryer. Once it's completely dry and everything, use your WD or your isopropyl and clean this part. There's not a speck of dirt or dust on there. Then you're not gonna use a lot. You're gonna use like that much. And you're gonna just grease this part all the way around. Not much. A little goes a long way. Now, from the factory, and when you buy the bike, every single shifter, Sunrace shifter, or any grip shifter for that matter, that comes from Canadian Tire, Walmart, or any of the big box stores, is not going to have any grease here. It's going to have grease in here, which is where the pawl sits. I don't know if you can see, that's probably better. The ribs right there, that's what makes the clicking sound with the pawl. That part is going to be greased, but not this part. It's important to grease this part because that's what this slides on, as well as sliding in here inside where the pawl is. Don't load it with grease. You just need a little bit, like you saw, about like a pea size amount. You're gonna put this on. See the spline part? The spline part's out here, okay? That's gonna face outward. Just kind of just sit it in there. If this doesn't have any grease in there, and you're just gonna put a little shot of grease right there, right where those ribs are that I was talking about, right? Then you take your screwdriver. If you have a grease gun, you can use your grease gun. It's more effective than this, but this is still effective. It still works. And I just spread the grease over top and in through those little splines in there. Not so much important that you grease the pawl, but this is the part where the pawl comes in. And on this particular one, there's a notch right here that the pawl, this is how you want the pawl to sit, inside the notch like that. Okay? Now the pawl is going to sit up like that. Okay? Now, you put that with the pawl in to the shift body like that. And it sits in right before the first notch. The other part of the shifter body has notches in there, okay? There is a notch right here. You see that notch right there, okay? That is going to go in behind the pawl. Remember those tabs that were such a pain? You've got to get those in first, okay? Now, don't push it all the way in because if you do this wrong, you have to get it back out again, and you don't want to do that twice. Okay, so once you're here at this point, you want to then take your new cable. Please tell me you put a new cable in. And you want to feed it through the barrel adjuster. You want to feed the cable, your brand new cable, through, okay, I'll stop now, through the barrel adjuster like that, okay? Now, don't pull it all the way through yet. There's a channel right there. It's a cable channel, right? So you want to make sure that that lines up with the cable channel. The cable actually goes into the cable channel. Then your hood goes on like that. You want to put the hood on before you lock the shifter body in place, because if you don't, you can't get the hood on. You have to take it apart to get the hood on. Okay? So like I said, that notch right here goes in behind the pawl. So once you get to this part, you want to test the shifter. And we've got action. Push this back in, all right? Like that, okay? So now it's back in. It's not coming apart. We're gonna start with the lock ring. It just goes in like that. You just press it in, okay? Making sure that the two holes are lined up. I like to put the screw on to the Allen, then put it in. Okay, just screw it in enough so that it doesn't fall out. So because you've been working with this shifter with greasy hands, again, why I use paper towel, okay? I didn't take it apart. Spray this part with isopropyl. Okay, and just clean that area, clean it of grease. You don't want grease on this because this is where the grip shifter sits in. And if obviously if you have grease in there, it's gonna want to twist on you and you're not gonna be able to change the gears. So with this, I'm just gonna put a little bit of isopropyl inside the grip housing there, and then line the splines up, and that isopropyl helps it just slide on no problem, as you saw. So, and that just evaporates inside and dries up. So at the end here, we're just gonna wipe down the shifter. You can use isopropyl on this part if you want. Just put it on the rag. So now you have a completely overhauled Sunrace shifter. The shifting is unreal, the difference. And that's it. I hope this video has helped you. It doesn't matter how much you spend on a bike. You want it to work. I mean, I really understand why every bike doesn't have a trigger shifter. There's no reason why you can't do this. Tools and time equals success. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more videos on this channel. I hope this video was better than the first one. Take care, stay safe out there.